Hello everybody, I'm not Levi Clay, this is Levi Clay. I'm Mike, and welcome to Guitar Souls Podcast. I think this is number 4.
Episode 4, yeah.
Episode 4. Hopefully you're all tuning in and listening, you're happy with it. As ever, if you have any questions, requests, comments, feedback,
Abuse,
suggestions, anything at all relating to the show, even if you just want to say something shitty about Party Cannon, please leave a comment, get in touch, however you want to do so. We'd be more than happy to accommodate whatever request you've got within reason.
Let's be realistic. No one's listening now because Kieran's no longer with us.
That's true. So we thought for this episode, just for a little change, since we've got such a beautiful relationship, it's very dynamic. We had a chat and we decided we're going to have a bit of fun with power play. Therefore, I'm going to be the dominant, and Levi's going to be the sub.
See how this works.
Exactly. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. You know, the exploration's a very healthy thing.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple of topics that we were thinking about doing that we've spoke about kind of on and off for the last few weeks, considering putting them into a podcast.
Yeah.
But to date, haven't really found enough that we're happy to talk about. But now seems to be the right time, I think, before it becomes more than we can deal with or goes away.
Yeah, like we're missing opportunities when it comes to things like this.
Unfortunately, just because of the time frames.
I wanted to leave this subject until the company went bust, because then I think it would be amazing. But
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, someone will step in. Yeah. But even then, at that moment, it's going to be a huge subject of conversation. So that would suggest, go on, tell us.
So, as you all expect, Toys R Us, they've went bust. No, sorry, I'm just joking. We're talking about Gibson. The recent host of information coming from the Gibson camp where things just aren't right. No doubt you'll have seen it if you are in any way, shape or form on social media, which I would hope you are if you're listening to this podcast or watching. But just the rumours that then became actual news stories and people talking about it. For example, Gibson firing staff at the Nashville custom shop, Gibson not being able to refinance, just a whole host of concerns regarding them and basically how they are going downhill, and just the mismanagement of the company in general and what it really means for the market and the concern about it for other, well, not concern, but how that has an effect on the total market as well as for other companies, etc.
They have a lot of debt.
Oh, by the looks of things, it's not good. And I don't mean to laugh. It's not a nice thing, especially not when you're talking about one of the most prevalent and historic companies involved in modern instruments. You think about it, the big three really are them, Fender and Martin. Not to disregard or discredit anyone else, but those are the three that you see the name of. You probably knew them before you were even into music.
Yep.
It's such a... that they're so prominent.
So, why has it happened?
Well, you could probably write every single thing you think is the reason why, put them on a dartboard and throw darts and get the right answers.
Well, Gibson have some ideas.
Oh, apparently so, yeah. Gibson boss blames guitar stores for financial woes. I'd love to know how that's possible, but that's what's been said, apparently. I've been in the fortunate position that I do have a bit of experience in dealing with companies directly. I used to manage a music store, and I've worked in music retail as well as retail in general. And Gibson are not the only company who do this, but it's not uncommon, and Gibson are very guilty of it, of basically companies taking the reins of saying which models you can take, having astronomical stock expectation, and generally just bullying small stores into not having the stock or investing way more than they actually can, and then blaming the stores for not selling. And that probably happens across the board. I'm not saying that's just small shops. I've no doubt that Guitar, etc., bigger retailers who have Gibsons get a lot of pressure for what, like, basically told you have to push these lines, you have to get these out. You're almost like they're setting them a sales target per month to take new models in. Now, I would say I know this for a fact, but I've no way to prove it. But my understanding and experience of companies like this, Gibson specifically, is the model for the UK changed from them having a distributor, who I believe used to be Rossetti, say 10, 15 years ago, roughly, probably closer to 10, but I'm getting old, who dealt with importing and then deciding which customers and companies had a business relationship with them, who got which models, what their stocking profile had to be. Obviously, there being a rep, there's probably kind of a little bit of back and forth so that smaller companies and shops can still stock them, can still supply customers and give good service, but not necessarily be tied up with a 5 or a 6 figure stocking sum, like having to invest anywhere between £10,000 and £100,000 to have guitars like that. For a small shop, that would just cripple them. Obviously, cash flow, a very important thing for any small business, any business in general, but small businesses are more susceptible to it.
So in essence, it would be possible as a customer for me to, when you were managing a shop, to walk in and say, "Hi, you're an official Gibson dealer, right?" And you say yes, and then me say, "Well, they've just brought out a new Slash Anaconda Les Paul. It's green, it's beautiful, and I want to get one. Can you get one in for me?" Your answer would be
not a chance, unless Gibson feel very nice that day.
Yeah.
Mainly because they pick the stocking profile that you get. So you're basically saying a commitment to say, we'll take Gibson guitars on. In exchange for that, we will sell any model that you send us, and we will shift X amount a month. And as far as I'm aware, again, can't confirm, they're pretty ruthless in terms of basically keeping your stock levels high and having you restock and sell through, which I think is why there's a lot of retailers who take Gibsons on, or those who stock Gibson at the moment have them, and you constantly see sales on them. Like,
oh, so Guitar, I've got one at the moment where if you buy any new 2018 Gibson, to any Gibson, USA Gibson, they're giving away a free Marshall £140 Marshall amp with it, and like that won't be a deal that's with Marshall.
No,
I'm sure will just have a lot of them about, and it's a loss leader.
Aye, it is. I mean, they might have been lucky enough that they've struck a deal with Marshall and said, "Look, we've already got X amount of stock. We want to do this incentive. What's the best price you can give us on these guitars? These amps." So it might be they might have balanced it correctly, but you're right. It won't be Marshall who said, "I know what we should do. We'll give you some amps to give away for free when you sell Gibson guitars." That's not going to happen. No offense, and that's good business.
Everything you've described to me though seems like, we all know the industry, buying and selling, is supply and demand.
Absolutely.
It seems though that based on what you've said there, that Gibson's approach seems to be, it is supply and demand, but the consumer doesn't come into that. It's about the demand that a shop has and the supply that Gibson can provide them. And and again, like, no shock, it doesn't matter what the customers want. It doesn't matter what the end users want. They just seem to have a relationship with guitar stores. Like, actually, when you really think about it, Gibson boss blames guitar stores for financial woes. Fucking Henry Jukovitz?
Couldn't tell you.
Mr. Punchable Face. When I look at him, it's just, look at his smug, punchable. How can you ruin such a monumentally legendary company? Just consistently run a company like that into the ground. Anyway,
No. You're missing the main point. How can you run a company like that into the ground and not take responsibility? How can you be so evasive to the truth? You know what I mean? It's like,
every picture I look at him, it's like he knows that. He's got this look on him like, I'm still not going to accept it. It's not my fault.
I think I'm going to have to make a meme of this picture. And in The Simpsons, when we'll just bypass that because my brain's went blank.
Okay.
Pardon?
Yeah. That meme may or may never come. Aye. But ultimately, consumers don't matter.
You're right. Yeah, pretty much. It is a blame culture, and I think it's more so that Gibson are saying, well, we're selling guitars. We're selling them to the shops directly because we don't have a middleman anymore. We've got all these stocking commitments in place and contracts that we're happy with. Why are we losing money? Maybe it's something down to the fact that they've got no regard for anything but selling guitars through. There's not anything about customer satisfaction, and that's end user as well as stores. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm not saying that through experience, but quite obviously, these companies are having to take on hordes of guitars that they're probably struggling to sell through because there's either so many, or they don't have the models that people are asking for, and they don't have access to those models. Let's be honest, the reputation of the brand is fucking dreadful.
You say that there's no middleman, but you could kind of look at the situation and say that in 2018, a retail store could be considered a middleman.
Oh yeah, well, I meant more so between like the business supplying the units to a business to sell them to the end user. Like, there's no.
Oh no, I know that, but I mean, like, when Henry's looking at the situation, and it's like, well, it's guitar stores' faults that we're in these financial woes.
Yep.
get rid of them. Sell direct to your customers. You could have done that. I mean, you could have at least offered that a long time ago, I'm sure. And then you'd have like a direct tap into what your consumers want. You'd see the models that people want to buy. You'd be able to monitor supply and demand. These are the guitars that people are buying. It's actually crazy when you think about it. You do that and you can see what people want to buy and see the guitars that people don't want to buy. They're currently in a situation where they have no fucking idea what people want to buy because all they can register is what we've managed to force a store to stock.
Aye, and
It's
I think
insane.
on top of that as well, I think it's very much see no evil, hear no evil. There isn't any indicators whatsoever that Gibson are actually trying to put their ear to the ground and see what people are saying. Every time they get feedback on things, it's like la 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 la. I'll just cover my ears and not listen. Like,
they've just today. I mean, yeah, okay. So just today they announced that god awful, and I don't even need.
It's not even god awful. It's beautiful.
I have seen it, but I don't even need to see it to know that it's going to be god awful. They've launched a $7,000 Chinese Year of the Dog guitar. Like, what is that? They did those Shagvan guitars just recently. They did that V, and these are all just guitars that are like $5,000+. Like, that's not how you're going to save your company.
Absolutely not. You're bringing out models that no one has asked for, and that, in the likelihood is no one wants.
Yeah.
Gibson sell through on their classic designs. They are guitars for people who like how it was in the old day, and I don't mean that to say they're not probably applicable to people who are playing modern bands. Like, there's plenty of musicians who will play Gibson Les Pauls and play metal, death metal, whatever. Like, it's doable.
If they made a $1,500 black Les Paul standard, just a metal looking guitar, it's gonna sell.
No, it would sell through
because that is cool. Metal players would jump at that. I mean, friend of the show Kendo, he'd jump on that in a second. Because it's just
black.
It's black. It's what people want. But they seem to make all of these things that you just look at and go, who is this for? Yeah,
you're missing the mark completely. You have no demand for the supply you're putting out at that point. You're just like, is this a decision from the Gibson boss? Do you think, or do you think this is like employees who are responsible for R&D or like marketing or whatever? Are these people? What are they doing?
I think someone over there has gone, oh right, we're in dire straits. We need to do something to fix this. How can we? Oh shit! How are we going to make money? How are we going to get us out of this debt? And then someone went, I've got an idea. There's like 3 billion people in China. Let's make a Chinese Year of the Dog guitar, sell it to all of them, and that's us saved.
That's it.
Spoilers: China are just going to make their own copies of it.
Yep, and even at that, it is a fucking ugly guitar. So who wants to own a really ugly? I mean, don't get me wrong, we all own ugly guitars, and we all have guitars that are ugly, and we love them because of that, because they are literally like, they play great, or there's some mojo about them, or they sound great. But like, I've no understanding of why Gibson would bring a guitar like that out into the market and think that will sell well, except to people who are collectors, and even they're probably getting sick of Gibson shit. Like, why are we paying between $4,000 and $7,000 or pounds for guitars that virtually don't play any better than one I could pick up from Tokai for £500 or £600? Probably play less good because the QC is fucking abysmal.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that all of their guitars are bad.
Oh no, when they're good, they're amazing.
Totally, and I think the problem is it's so hit and miss when they come off the line. There isn't someone who gets a final R&D word to say, that one's good as it is, this one's great, that one needs some work. They're literally just coming off the line, being assembled, boxed, packaged, and sold. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, and the measures that they're taking in order to save money is, you pointed out earlier in the show, like, that they fired a bunch of people from the Nashville custom shop. Like, what's that? They closed their Memphis factory, right? If memory serves me correctly. I think
that was the first rumour, was it not, that Memphis was going to shut?
Yeah, and how is that going to help? Your staff in your custom shop, these are the guys that, if anything, don't fire these guys. Send these guys out to all of the other places where guitars are being made and have them oversee the fucking quality control to make sure that your guitars are coming out pristine.
Yeah.
Because you want to fix your company. Like, that's ultimately, I feel that's probably what this was about, right?
I'd hope so.
How would we go about fixing Gibson? Like, the only thing I would suggest is sort your quality control out and sort your PR issues out.
Yeah. If they stick to the shapes that they're known and loved for, and they make sure that the stuff that's coming out is better priced because it's unreasonable at the moment. Like, in general, the prices in some of the guitars. Especially when you consider then the QC issues they're having. They're missing the mark in so many factors, but people know and love Gibson, which is why they've survived this so far, and why it's not a surprise that these rumours are flying about, but people still have faith in the company. It wouldn't take much for them to go, okay, either very, very good quality, reasonable priced models, and sell them out the arse and just go total quantity, or bring back the standards that they need. I say bring back, like bring in standards for everything. And if those guitars aren't coming out the factory absolutely polished, then what's the fucking point?
But why would you do those things when you can, sue Funko Pop, the guys that make the pop figures, or try and sue Vagina Guitars, or, just like chase after things that aren't going to help you in any way, shape or form?
But is that a decision from Gibson directly, or is that the solicitors taking their own initiative? Because it wouldn't surprise me, and I don't mean this to alienate anyone who's listening from the States, but that seems to be a big culture in the US, is like a blame culture, but then everything's about legal recourse and ultimately financial compensation. Is that potentially something the solicitors have went off on their own tangent with?
No, well, I'm sure Gibson are probably going to have their own in-house counsel, and maybe that needs to be reviewed before firing half of your custom shop staff, because when you've got lawyers that think it's a good idea to go after a company like Funko because they make cartoon dolls that hold cartoon, and I can't even say cartoon Gibsons because they're not. They're just cartoons of guitars. They don't have your brand on them anywhere. Nope. So, and they're deliberately caricatures. They're not to scale. They're not in proportion.
Yes, they're likened. They're not exact.
Yeah,
they're not designed to be replicas.
And no one's looking at these Funko figures and like, well, I was thinking about buying that Funko figure, but it's not a real Gibson he's holding. You know what I mean? Like people don't buy them because they think, oh, that's a tiny Gibson that little figure's holding. No impact. So why on earth would you be going after Funko? You know why it is? Because Funko are making some money. They're making a lot of money actually. Yep. And Gibson like, well, again, the China thing's probably not going to work out. Maybe we can make some money by just taking it from somebody else that's being successful.
Yeah, it's lazy profiteering.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because they're going after companies that just don't deserve it. Another headline that caught both our attentions: Gibson creditors want new CEO before offering a rescue deal.
That's crazy.
I think when your creditors are making ransoms, you're probably in a shit position, and you're not really in any position to argue.
Yeah.
And
he will, though. He'll just let that company go right into the ground. We're probably going to get sued for just having these opinions.
You can't rip knickers off a bare arse. For those of you that don't understand that terminology, it's an old Scottish saying, which basically means you can't take pants off a bare bum. More or less meaning, I can't give you anything I don't have.
Yeah.
Don't expect that if you sue me, you're going to get any more than some pocket change and an apology.
It's that's insane to me. Like the idea of even coming out and suggesting like, we're not going to offer you any sort of rescue unless you get rid of the guy at the top. The guy at the top must be looking at this and surely thinking, have I done something wrong? Is this maybe my fault? But I just don't think he is he?
No, it's not. To go back to the meme I was talking about, it's Principal Skinner for The Simpsons. No, it's the children who are to blame. You know what I mean? That's exactly it. It's like, maybe I'm the common denominator. No, it must be the shops. It must be our creditors. It must be the customers. It must be those that are questioning our QC. It must be
the fact that companies like Vagina are making things
better guitars than us for less money, but they look like ours slightly, so therefore we have to have their money.
Yeah, but do they? Like compared to other brands? I keep bringing up Vagina because, like, obviously I want to talk about Vagina a bit, only because what's their guy's name?
I'm not sure, but I love how candid they are.
Andrew Miller.
Hi, Andrew.
Andrew Miller is an absolute freaking legend.
As a pair of quite opinionated, music-centred guitar holes, we appreciate when people just skip the polite business marketing bullshit and tell the truth. And it's quite clear that Andrew is just himself. His branding is having a sense of humour and being down to earth and not selling that slimy corporate shit patter. He just says what he thinks and he means what he says. and he just wants to make guitars that he's happy with and that he has fun with and that he enjoys his business and people enjoy his business back.
Yeah.
And here's Gibson basically trying to fucking rail on him.
Not trying to, like, they shut his website down.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah, and
Jesus fucking Christ.
Those guys made Vagina made a V type guitar, and that was the final straw for Gibson. He had to pull his website down. You won't find any pictures of the Vagina V online anywhere.
That's fucking shocking.
It didn't look like a Gibson, but essentially, from the few things that I've read from Andrew, it seems that Gibson are trying to claim that they own a trademark on the word flying. And they own a trademark on any guitar using the word V.
It must be Gene Simmons that's in charge of their patents and fucking.
I had actually hoped to get Andrew on the show, and hopefully we will in future. I've been talking to him, and he's just a funny guy.
In fairness, I've followed Virginia Guitars on Facebook and stuff for quite a while, and I've always loved their candid nature. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
and I think they don't look like Gibson. Like even the headstock on the Les Paul style shaped one is its own entity. You see that and instantly you know that's a Vagina guitar.
When you say the Les Paul, do you mean the Dixon Vagina?
Sorry, the Dixon Vagina, that's right, yeah. The model names are fucking incredible, aren't they?
He's my hero.
Explorer.
Explorer Vagina.
That's so good.
Yeah.
But it's just the tongue-in-cheek nature of the company. It's quite clear this guy's not out trying to take over Gibson or Fender or anyone like that and capitalise on their fucking designs or undercut anyone. He's literally making guitars that he likes. The guitars, the designs are fucking beautiful, man. Some of the white guitars are incredible.
Yeah.
They're a bit like the Buckethead signature, and maybe that's why Gibson are so pissed off.
Yeah. But
fuck them. But he's so candid. He doesn't give a fuck, and it's great. It's refreshing.
Can you imagine the guy that Gibson imagine they're losing as a customer, the guy that's like, oh, I'm thinking of spending like $7,000 on a vintage reissue Les Paul gold top because that's exactly what I want. Oh, but I've heard real quality controls issues with Gibson, and it is quite a lot of money. So rather than getting this like guitar that's very similar to what my idols played 50 years ago, I want to buy a guitar called Vagina. I'm going to buy a Vagina because I love Vagina.
Yep.
Like, these two companies couldn't be any more polar opposites of each other.
On top of that, some of the designs from Vagina guitars, from what I remember, pretty much the majority of them are baritone.
Yeah.
Like, there's another variation. You know what I mean? Like, they don't offer tone knobs. Another variation. They use, like, banjo-style tuners, or at least they're not side-mounted. They go on the back of the headstock, so the shape of the headstock doesn't have tuners at the sides. Another variation. Like, there's loads of wee things that are different, literally about the engineering of the guitar, that separates from anything Gibson have done.
Yep. Yeah.
Just
the thing with Vagina is that's probably the sort of company that I should be endorsed by, or not because their guitars are
should be.
Yeah. It's not that they're not really like guitars that they don't speak to me. Like,
no.
I'd play one and it'd be cool, I'm sure, and I'd really enjoy it. But yeah, I'm really happy with the stuff that I play. But in terms of like as a company, like that's the kind of company that for me, I wouldn't have to worry about the shit that I say online.
Yes.
Whereas the backlash that I've had in the past from companies like, we heard that you did this. Like, I imagine Andrew Miller would be the kind of guy that would send you an email going, dude, I just saw that thing you posted. Bravo. Fucking clap,
fuck
clap.
them.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I think that's a cool attitude. It's a refreshing attitude in this market. Like, everyone, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but everyone is business minded when it comes to businesses, I suppose, and PR these days. There's no one that's just that I'm aware of that just has that kind of tongue in cheek. Of course, we're a business. We're here to supply a demand, but it doesn't always have to be business and serious and mid-level manager fucking brain fucking melting shit words and nonsense. Like, it doesn't have to be.
To quote that Andrew Miller interview that you and I watched just before we started this, and I would recommend anyone go and watch it because he is a meme lord.
Should we supply a link?
Yeah, I'll post the link in the comments to it. He's like an absolute meme lord.
I think this is K-Mac in business.
Yeah. You can watch this video and you will find at least 50 solid gold quotes that you will just recite for years and years to come because he's just funny. So in there he talks about like people say to him, oh, like your company's called Vagina Man. That's just stupid. So what's wrong with that? Why can't you just why can't you do something just to be stupid? Why can't you do something just for the fun of it?
I think he says something along the lines of like, duh, that's the point.
Yeah, it's being stupid is cool.
Of course it is.
We're called the Guitar Souls.
It's great marketing in itself, whether that's the intention or not.
Yeah.
It's great to have a sense of humour, but still be serious enough to say, look, this is what we are offering and supplying.
Yeah. I love that he's stuck with it, actually, because from reading a few things, like, I probably would have given up, because I know he's had a real hard time with things like, you know, going to the NAMM show and like having to, like, being told by hotels, you need to move your van, you can't have your van here. Not just because they don't like it, but because NAMM have obviously got contracts with these companies, and he's like, and they're like, he doesn't show at our show, therefore, you know, we don't want his van around the hotels type thing. And then he also mentioned that, so for the following year, he did get a stall at NAMM, he intended to go, and then they revoked his membership. Again, probably just because of his name. But he's going to have a hard time. Imagine, and he said this again, walking around NAMM or anywhere where you're trying to like improve your business, you're trying to source woods, and you find a company that has like a good stock of ebony. So you're like, right, I'm really interested in business. God knows, I love good wood. Yeah. You're considering doing business with these companies. You go up to like a man in a suit, yes, and you're like, hi, I'd like to maybe talk to you about going into a company called you're pulling my leg, get out of here, you scamp. No one's going to take him seriously, so... But
better than that, who's going to take anyone seriously that calls you a scamp? Yeah. You're pulling my chain. No.
So Andrew Miller, currently you are my favourite person on the internet. You are my hero, sir. Keep it up. I'll constantly be cheering for you.
You must have done something right for Levi to call you his favourite person, because he hates everyone. Like,
yeah,
everyone.
That is true. So yeah.
So speaking of bastardizations of classic shapes and horrible, horrible, horrible ideas.
Good segue.
I was thinking that it just fit perfect, you know? Like, we're talking about...
Like in a good vagina.
Fit so well.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, moving on. Slick. John Mayer.
Wow.
And PRS. Just... I don't even know where to go with the conversation. Like, jumping from Fender... Did they ever announce exactly why, other than he was not happy? Was there specifics?
I mean, that tells you a lot, doesn't it? When you say when an artist is willing to come out and not say, you know, creative differences or something like that, when they say I wasn't happy, something went down.
Yeah. It's more a matter of respect that if you were going to leave a company to be endorsed by someone else, you wouldn't say that. So something must have happened, because I don't know John Mayer as being an asshole. He seems like he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
I've never spoken to him personally. I don't know him personally. If he wants to be on the show, he should definitely get in contact.
Yeah.
If someone can hook us up, that'd be even better. But for the most part, everything I've ever seen that he does off his own back, PR-wise and stuff, outside of his music, like just as a person, as a personality, he's always very approachable and nice and fun and not that serious. Like, in the studio with Kanye West, and they're just being stupid. Like, he's intentionally just acting up to see if Kanye will play along or not. Or like, I actually seen him playing a part of a Jason Becker song in a video once. Like, he was sitting playing, I think it was Altitudes or whatever it was. Like, he's very varied in what he does. Or he turned up to a football game asking people if they've got a
phone.
Your phone over? Sorry. Yeah, like he turned up to, might even one of his own concerts, dressed in like a mascot outfit, talking to people and asking them, "Are you excited about John Mayer? Have you ever heard of him?" Like, it just seems like a nice guy. So for him to come out and publicly denounce the business relationship, that he wasn't happy, and not really do the usual, which is everyone being nice and just saying it's creative differences, then I think you're right. It's quite astounding.
Not only is it astounding to me that he'd go through that sort of relationship, what he came out with at the end of it, you know, the signature model.
For those of you who haven't looked up, please go to Google and look up the John Mayer signature PRS. It is something else, is the polite way of putting it. And the Guitar Soul's way of putting it, it is a fucking abomination. Like, it is a testament to man's ignorance.
I don't understand. Like, from PRS's perspective, Like, let's not beat around the bush. They've just made a Strat.
Yep.
And they've put a PRS headstock on it.
You're right. And
which already is enough of a juxtaposition that you kind of go, ugh, what's that?
oh, you're right. Like, it's just as I announced it to start with, like it's a bastardization of a classic shape. Even people that make Strat copies that are flirting with the law and expecting a lawsuit still have some sort of similar headstock design.
Yeah.
Or minor variances. Like, it just looks like PRS have went, can we get a bolt-on neck instead of having like just a neck through? Fine. John, take the neck off one of your Strats. Clamp. There we go. That's it done. Like that's how I see it, and it doesn't look good. It looks like a bad Photoshop.
If you were to liken it to something outside of guitar playing, it in like, you know, robotics,
okay,
it falls into the uncanny valley. That's the issue with that guitar. It doesn't look right, but it doesn't look so wrong that it's ridiculous. We don't look at it and go, this is crazy. It's just enough wrong,
yes,
for it to be unsettling.
I know exactly what you mean. It's sitting on the border of bad design and just ignorance.
Yeah.
I think they're the only two ways I can see it going. Like,
but so here is the thing. Like, how are PRS okay with it? Because it was going to, someone in their marketing team is going to have looked at this situation and gone, how the fuck are we going to get away with this?
yes,
How are we going to sell this to people? And it's not a cheap guitar either.
I can imagine it will be quite expensive.
Someone's gone, you know, oh, this with 3 years of R&D to come up with this model. Like, are you trying to become a meme? I don't get it. Why not just the only way around this, unfortunately, was for John to just accept the fact that I really want to play a Strat, but I don't want to be with Fender. Therefore, I need a company to make me something that isn't a Strat. Because by releasing this guitar that is essentially a Strat with a different headstock on it, you've not really said much about what you think about Strats. In fact, you've said the opposite.
It is a Strat with a different headstock. There's no getting around that. That is exactly what it is.
Yeah. If you want to buy a John Mayer guitar, look for the John Mayer signature Fender Strat still.
Pretty much, yeah. just what is the difference even with his signature? Because like, I don't think there's anything that makes it a specific signature other than maybe he's got like custom shop overwound pickups or something like that. Like, there's nothing that's really aesthetically defining except maybe a signature on the headstock. But even then, like, I wouldn't see a Strat and go instantly, there's a John Mayer. You wouldn't. Billy Corgan's, you're going to see that and go, that's Billy Corgan's, because it's got 3 hot rails in it. It's black with a white scratch plate, if memory serves correctly.
For those listening, my hands are in the air now. I don't know.
Well, I put an Yngwie Malmsteen Strat in front of you and you're going to go Yngwie Malmsteen signature. Yeah. It's cream, it's got scalloped fretboard, big ass headstock, and it probably costs more than it should. Yeah. Just calling it how I see it.
Well, you say that, I always love to throw this story in there. You've not even seen Doug's guitar collection.
I have not.
Doug, another good friend of the show. So Doug owns a Fender custom shop Malmsteen Strat.
Wow.
Without a scalloped fretboard.
So that's why the custom shop part comes in then, yeah?
Someone custom shop ordered a Malmsteen Strat and they said, I don't want it scalloped.
To be fair to them, I think that's probably the best design of a Malmsteen Strat signature I can conceive.
Just seems crazy that it's still got Malmsteen signature on the headstock.
Definitely. It's like,
I think Doug paid like £600 for it as well. So,
oh well, fair play. If you're going to get a Fender custom shop for £600, then you've probably done all right. Yeah. So, going back to like PRS, I don't get it. Like, that is a Fender shape.
Do a different headstock, and it would be passable. Yeah. But don't get me started on PRS's headstock.
No.
I mean,
or their heel.
I'm started on PRS's headstock. Let's just throw this one out there.
Okay.
Right? PRS, Paul, you might be known for that headstock, but Vigier were using that before you were.
Old beef.
Yeah, let's just remember that. Vigier have been using that shape headstock for longer than PRS have been using that shape headstock.
Levi's calling you out.
But unfortunately, because PRS are the bigger company, they'll always kind of win that one. They'll have a bigger legal team and shit like that.
Just when you're talking about PRS, I'm sorry to go off the track. I've not mentioned this to you before, but I'd like to say that if anyone who's listening could please go to Peach Guitars Facebook and share their post about the £11,000 PRS being stolen.
That's something that I meant to talk about.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
you want to elaborate then? I'm literally just asking if people want to share that post, because that is fucking disgusting. Regardless of whether it's worth £10 or 11 grand, like, that's someone's asset. That's something that someone bought for their business to make money, and someone's shamelessly stolen it.
Yeah.
And they've been known to do it as well. These people have been seen stealing saxophones, I think, to the tune of about 10 grand as well. Like, that is shameless.
Yeah, their numbers up, to be fair.
I fucking hope so.
John at Peach Guitars, like, I know John from
I know you
Peach
do, yeah.
Guitars, and he's a really, really nice guy.
I've never heard a single bad thing about the shop. It's always been very relaxed and laid back, but very professional at the same time.
John's helped me out a few times over the years. So, like, I'd help him out anyway, but I really want to push hard on this because he's a nice guy and doesn't deserve this shit to be happening. But yeah, essentially a couple walked into a shop, into Peach Guitars. They bought something cheap, and then when the store's staff had their back turned, the woman had a large pocket on the inside of her coat, big enough for a guitar, and just placed an £11,000 PRS in there, and then just immediately walked out of the shop. But fortunately, John has very, very good CCTV in his shop.
Absolutely, you can't get clearer photos.
Yeah, so go and check out Peach's Facebook page, and share the post far and wide, and let's get these people caught, because they deserve it. Yeah,
on top of that, I think it'd be really good to make an example of them, because at the moment they're setting a precedent that you can get away with this shit. They've done it more than once. Both times have been caught on CCTV, but somehow they haven't been caught otherwise. So the further it's shared, the more even people who are just in music shops browsing might get to know their faces, and if they try it again, there's a lot higher chance of them being caught.
Let's just throw out also there's a £1,000 reward for the guitar coming back.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, that goes to show you that, like, how much it means to that company. Not even to get the guitar back, to hold these people accountable.
Yeah.
And quite rightly. Sorry to go off topic. I wanted to mention it because, well, it sickens me. It's a fucking horrible thing.
Yeah.
And it's not fair.
It's unnecessary. So, all right, finally,
talking about signature guitars, Levi had a small conversation with someone online. We'll start it off just by going through the first comment you got, and basically your reply back.
Yeah, do it.
More so about people having signature guitars and whether they're worthy or not, and the ongoing spiral of conversation that can come from there. So,
for context, this was posted on the I did an inside story video with Tom Quayle where we talked about his signature Ibanez, how that came about, and how involved he was in the design of his guitar. This was a comment that I got a couple of days ago.
I can't pronounce his surname. I think it might be Rodrigo Falcao. Probably nowhere near that. But anyway, you go through the comments in the video, you'll see it. Rodrigo wrote, "I must say I do like Tom's style and technique, inspiring creativity and versatility. But frankly, why a signature guitar for a musician that hasn't edited a single CD? It took Jimmy Page, Ritchie Blackmore and others quite a few years and a whole lot of musical success to have their signature guitars. Now it seems just a few licks and some YouTube followers are more than enough." And we both thought that was a very interesting conversational topic.
Well, I responded to him.
Yeah.
And we might as well run through the conversation because
Go with it.
Yeah. Because when you get involved with us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, etc., we'll talk back. We're always here.
That's the great thing about this. It should be an interactive media for people. We want to know what you think. We want to know the topics that you want us to do. Everything we talk about is for everybody to know, listen to, and enjoy. So
I said, well, first up, Tom does have an album out. He has the
Elbow Triangle.
Elbow Triangle, yeah, which is worth checking out if you're into the high-tech fusion thing.
Yep. You want to hear people that tell you that, or basically show you that you're not as good at guitar as you think you are? Well worth listening to, but that's not a bad thing. It's very good.
So I went on to say, and second of all, if you'd watched the video, you'd know that the business has changed. Signature gear isn't a reward that you get when you achieve a certain thing. It's a business relationship with mutual benefits for both parties. Tom probably racks up 1 million views per month around all of his output. And that's not 1 million passive views of people just enjoying music like with Ritchie Blackmore. Totally. That's 1 million guitar players actually staring at the damn instrument he's holding. Now, who would you rather is playing your guitar? A guy in a band that might play in front of 100,000 people who don't really know about or care about your gear in a year, or a guy getting 10 times that per month and all of them being your actual demographic, people who buy guitars and trust the guy they're watching to inform their decisions. You know, half of the phrase music business is business.
Which is a great comment. Rodrigo then replied back to Levi to say, I must agree with you that this is music business and its rules have changed over the years, but once more, and unfortunately, quantity seems to overcome quality. It's more important how many likes and followers you have on YouTube, Facebook, etc., than being capable of composing and playing music that will move listeners' souls. And if we keep in mind the existing decline of the electric guitar, expressed by the declining sales, I would say that's questionable personally, but we'll move on. We may assume that Guitar Legends is something of the past, traded for some entertainers of brand PR, which I find rather sad. And thank you, Levi, for the info on Tom's album.
Yeah, good point. But one last response I had for him. But yeah, again, quantity was always more important than quality. Just look at the history books of signature models. Courtney Love, Kiefer Sutherland, Avril Lavigne, Simon Neil, Noodles. That's all PR. That's always been the way it is. Mm-hmm. If it makes sense for business, then it happens. It's not a position you qualify for with the right list of achievements. It never has been. And Richie Blackmore had a signature model because he was popular, not because he made good music. He happened to make good music as well, but he maintained a signature model even when he went on and did Blackmore's Night, which, in my opinion, he wasn't making good music.
That's it. That's the thing. And of course, the market's changed. Back when Richie Blackmore and Jimmy Page were doing their thing, there probably wasn't all that much idea of a signature guitar. That's something that was invented at the time of Guitar Hero's inception. Like, these people are very prevalent in this up-and-coming, very, very popular phenomenon. It's a cultural phenomenon that music became so big as it is. Why would we not market this person's success to sell X, Y, or Z? The thing is now, because it's now a popular market and we understand it more, and there's a lot more variance in what you can have, then of course you're going to find a lot more people having signature guitars, because it's a valid and valuable way for companies to sell instruments.
Yeah.
And for musicians to make money. Like, you linked me an article talking about Misha Mansour basically saying that people don't believe that Periphery don't make money. We're a very successful band, but we don't. And that kind of ties in with this. Their clever business model is to then have other business ties that allow them to have money. So, for example, signature guitars, signature tone packs, pedals, merchandise, building their own brand so that they have maybe 3 or 4 different revenue streams. That's just clever business. And that is the nature of the market at the moment.
It's more than that, though. Like, so I'm a member on the Ultimate Recording Machine now, the Mix group, and E.L. Levy, who's one of the owners. Mm-hmm. You know, someone was criticizing Misha for that post, and the point was made that, like, it's not about judging someone for this. In any other industry, diversifying your income streams, having income come from many sources, is how you become rich. That's sensible.
Common sense.
In music, that's how you survive. That's what you have to do just to make ends meet.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And I think it's because people see the volumes of, not business necessarily, but the fact that Periphery are well seen, that they tour a lot, they have a lot of stuff out, they're pretty much a household name at this point. But how people don't understand it, they don't get all that profit, is beyond me. I think it's a bit silly. Anyway, sorry, I think I'm off topic a bit.
Yeah. So you talk to us about signature guitars. I'm going to go and be very kind to my dog and ask him to be quiet.
It doesn't really work as a conversation when there's only one person.
Well, yeah, talk about the Courtney Love signature model. In fact, if I open the door...
I don't think anyone wants to talk about
Come on.
Courtney Love's signature guitar, if we're telling the truth.
Come here, you little lump.
This is episode 4 special guest.
So yeah, in essence, it got me thinking about, signature models. You can't really say undeserving, but it was more that when there are certain artists that I look at, like Courtney Love,
yes,
or Kiefer Sutherland, where I go, how did that signature model ever happen?
Yeah, it's not a business decision. It's obviously, or it's not obvious business decision.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how popular Courtney Love is, other than saying that, well, she was married to Kurt Cobain. That's like the only real successful tie. Our band aren't even that successful.
How many guitars do you think she was selling, though? Is ultimately, because in that comment I say that endorsements is a mutual business relationship.
Of course.
How many guitars was she selling?
How long did the signature guitar exist on the market? How long was it being produced for? I think that would potentially answer the question.
Yeah, it wasn't a year, maybe 2 years that guitar existed for.
Like the minimum part of whatever contract they'd signed then.
Yeah.
Like if this doesn't sell X units, we are binning it.
Yeah.
Effectively. And I don't know, maybe it was a gamble.
Yeah. When we talked about this before filming, you kind of mentioned the Razorback.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a different subject, but in a similar vein.
Yeah, that's more about like posthumous signature guitars or instruments and equipment that people didn't actually play. It's just then branded with their name. Yeah,
people forget that about the Razorback, don't they?
Definitely. I mean, Dime was in talks with Dean to make the guitar. I think he had a prototype version himself. It's a bit of a variant spin-off from his ML guitars, obviously, but I'm not aware of any time he ever played any, because they came out after he died. And the same with the Dime amps, if you remember, they brought them out as well. I mean, I just think it's a bit tasteless. And that's not a mutual business decision. That is literally a company going, well, he did play our guitars, let's make some money. And
someone in his family will have approved it.
Well, I think Rockin' Rita, who was his wife, was in part to do with that, because she's still part of like Dime Vision, the DVD that they brought out, that was kind of an offshoot of the Pantera Home Videos from Hell, etc. So there's somebody making money from it that isn't just the company, but at the same time, I just think it's a bit tasteless. And
it's happened a few times though, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We're talking about the Randy Rhoads signature was a great example. The RR guitar, obviously he played the Offset V, but he didn't play one that had EMGs and luminlay inlays and a reverse headstock and an OFR with fucking titanium bridge saddles and custom plate and whatever else. All the variants of them you get these days. It's like, not necessarily the problem is that signatures of signature guitars are a problem, but when do you draw the line? Like,
well, I kind of thought about the Jackson RR a little bit more, and we know RR stands for Randy Rhoads, but they never use the word Randy Rhoads.
No, of course
so I
not.
guess in that sense, it's just a model that they have, the RR.
Yeah.
But the Les Paul, people
Everybody
always
knows
forget
that's
a Les Paul, and that's a signature model.
Yeah, exactly. That's Les Paul's signature, because that was the shape that he... Did he not design that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Like that is genuinely his design.
And now we get signatures of a signature.
And even further and even further and even further. That's it. I mean, that would have been, at that point, a mutual business decision. There's no doubt that Les Paul himself would have made money from giving that design to Gibson to manufacture and mass produce.
Aye, but then and I'll totally get the year wrong on this, but I want to say 63, Gibson decided, no, the Les Paul is too heavy, we're going to create the SG, but the first year of the SG it was called the Les Paul.
Yeah.
And Les Paul wasn't up for that. He wasn't happy with that at all. So
because it was a bastardization of his design. Not to say SGs are bad guitars, but at that point in time, that was his design being edited.
Yeah, destroyed.
So it's no longer his signature, which means that they don't have to pay him any money.
So signature models, it's definitely something that I'd like people's opinions on.
Definitely. I think, is there anyone you think that has a questionable signature guitar? Like, is there any reason why they have it that isn't because they are a guitar idol, or that is blatantly not just to sell guitars? Like, is it? How do you think these companies come about having these business relationships? And is it just as simple as with some companies, as we were talking about a couple of episodes ago, turning up to NAMM or trade shows, or just even sending an email and going, "Hi, I like your products, give me a discount," and I'll tell people that. Because, I mean, that is still in a form an endorsement. It's still a business relationship. But does that really have a mutual output? I know Legator have got a lot of endorsees at the moment, and just to talk about Rodrigo's comment about likes on YouTube, etc., those people are still selling guitars. They are brand ambassadors, and that will be the reason, I would assume, that they are given the opportunities to have that.
Yeah.
Like, they are representing the company. They're putting content out that's original. whether that's liked or disliked. I mean, just Levi and I were talking about models beforehand, and I don't want to rag on the guy. I don't think it's very fair because
I'll do it. We're guitar souls.
I'll put out my statement of bias originally to start with, right? I don't know the guy, I don't dislike the guy, and I don't think his content is necessarily bad. But Charles Caswell / Buried Alive, I just don't get it personally. For the same reason that I don't really get Al Moomin stuff. It's just, how can you sell guitars when there's no guitar in the music that you are selling? Or very little. Like, I just don't agree with it, and it doesn't resonate well with me. And that's just my opinion. But I'm trying to be really, really diplomatic here, and I don't know where else to go.
I'll take away diplomacy for you.
Go for it.
Not on this, but kind of on this, just because I saw that Al Moomin and the Heart Machine are now looking for a singer.
They will not have any musicians apply that have ever heard anything that's happened with Al Moomin. Al, and maybe I don't know if the rest of the band, but definitely he made the decision to leave a band member with no phone and no wallet in a service station, and then drive a couple of 100 miles away, just because they had like some sort of disagreement. I mean, that, not even as a musician level or a professional level, as a human, you are a shitty person if you do that kind of thing.
Al, this is my message to you.
Fuck off.
You don't need a singer. You don't need to spend time looking for a singer. You need to spend a bit of time looking for some fucking integrity, son. So
it's calling you out. Fight him. IRL. We could have a live fight stream. That'd be good.
Yeah.
UFC Levi's living room.
Yeah, I'm sure I could mime some punches, and that's how things are done, isn't it?
It takes a new man to punch in.
Yeah. Good work. So Charles Caswell.
Yes.
And he has a signature, and
I believe he does. There's quite a few artists on the Legator lineup. That's what I was getting at. That might not necessarily be touring musicians. They might just put out online content. Like, I don't know if Buried Alive play live or not. I have no idea.
Well, probably not, because
I would doubt it, because it's just a laptop.
Wouldn't sound like that.
Yeah, just a man standing looking at his guitar and a laptop playing in the background, really confused, like, oh, no, I need to pretend I'm miming. But that, I don't know.
What it's worth, I did like the couple of Buried Alive tracks that
I'm the same. Like, I like the music. Yeah. I like the composition.
A bit over the top in places, but
of course it is. But that's the point. It's meant to be the same idea of like Rings of Saturn and all of these, like, not taking it too far, but really pushing the boundaries of how technical can you make technical music.
Yeah.
How unplayable can this riff be? And you know what? Like, greatest respect to him for the writing, but I just do not enjoy the fact that I've publicly posted comments on the YouTube or his Facebook asking him how he gets his tone, what noise gates he's using, etc. And they just never get answered. In fact, I think 2 of them get deleted. And I just think that, to me, strikes a nerve. Like, someone's asking you a question literally about your signal chain and your processes. I'm interested enough in what you're doing to want to understand it, to give it the credit that it deserves.
Yeah.
But then for you to completely sidestep that, and I might not be the only one. This might be a couple other people. It's just really shady.
Those videos got shared in a couple of groups that I'm in, and the comments that went with them were for people that didn't know any better. They're like, I cannot believe that guys are getting this good.
Quite rightly. You shouldn't believe that guys are getting this good, because it doesn't happen.
But they do believe it, and they take it at face value. And you have to explain to these people that, no, that's not real. It's okay, it's cool, musically it's fine, and it's totally valid, but don't think that that's what's being played.
Of course
If you sat in a room with him and he plugged into an amp, he doesn't sound like that. No guitar sounds like that. If he was going to have a signature product, it would be a fucking a noise gate pedal. It would be some sort of weird, like an analog noise gate. We talked about this before, but I was talking about a plug-in, but an actual analog noise gate pedal that had 16 loops on it, and you plugged into it, and then
each one's like a
after
trim pot.
Every single pedal it went back into the noise gate, and you just gated after every single bit of processing that happens on your signal. Give him that signature pedal. That would be a more appropriate signature pedal.
See if you had one of those with a signal buffer built in, that would be a great product.
Well, if
anyone steals that design, fuck you, I want royalties. I'm going to become Gibson, I'll sue the ass off you. I'm all joking.
Yeah, earlier you said you can't rip knickers off a bare ass.
True.
You also can't sue people if you don't have any money. So
fucking watch me. I'll be standing in that court, like, fucking representing myself. Your Honour, fuck this guy. I made a video talking about this, And then he made it. He put all the effort into engineering it and designing it and having prototypes made and making sure it works and then doing all the R&D. But it's my idea, therefore give me money. Nah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Off on a fucking tangent.
That's good.
But I don't like to have to, not to have to, but to rag on people for doing their own thing, making content. Sometimes enjoyable, sometimes not, but that's completely subjective. But it's the lack of transparency that upsets me. I don't like that it's been sold as... He's not specifically saying it, but all his videos are pretty much making out that he's playing it. He doesn't confirm nor deny, but you're pretty much trying to confirm people or convince people that you've done it if you're releasing videos of you playing along with it. And fair play to him, it looks like he'd probably play them quite well, but that's not the sound that's going to come out the amp, ever. I mean, there's blatantly parts of the videos between him and other people that you can hear, like RSE from Guitar Pro. You can hear a synthesizer that's supposed to sound like a guitar. And don't get me wrong, they're quite convincing, but it doesn't take much if you've got an ear for what a guitar actually sounds like. And a moderate understanding of how signals work to know that that's not the case without extreme editing.
Just remember, the government is bad and also watching you.
You're right. That's very true. I remember when the clean part came in, you were like, so there's no real instruments on this?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Again, because it can be quite convincing. And some bands use it to their advantage. Some people will maybe have not a backing track, but like a click track with elements they can't do live as part of their show. I think Between the Buried Me do it sometimes for like interludes between songs when they're playing like a full album.
Yep.
They certainly did when I watched them playing Colours. Not live, so I'd love to see them live, but playing it live on DVD. And that enhances bands. I've seen bands do it quite a few times and it looks great. It sounds great and it just makes the performance better. But that's an augmentation. That's not mis-selling it.
Yep.
Sorry, again, I went off on a fucking tangent.
No, it's good. It's good. Hopefully people like listening to this nonsense.
Yeah, and I hope they don't think that I'm just trying to shit on people. Sometimes
that's my job.
Well, listen, when it's justified, we can both go for blood, right? Yeah. But my point with this topic in general is quite simple. It's just be honest, be transparent. You're not playing those riffs. You might be able to play the riffs.
And you wrote it.
Yeah, and fuck, well done. Like, that's some cool music. There's some Rings of Saturn I don't listen to them all the time. They're very intense. But sometimes I hear the songs and I go, fuck me, that's intense. That's really good. And other times I'm like, that's just too much for me. And fair play, that's my opinion.
Cool.
Yes.
Well, as you're running the show, I'm going to give you the opportunity to give us a creative end now.
Okay.
Let's do like a performance review. How do you feel this has gone, Mike?
Well, I think I could definitely perform better in some aspects, but I'm quite happy with the result overall. I mean, the sound's probably pretty good, and I think people will engage quite well, and we'll just have to see, We'll need to wait and see what the feedback is from the fans, and big shout out to the fans and some encouragement, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
sound like a shit football player.
That works.
I'm currently having my groin licked by a dog. That's a way to end the show.
I know, yeah.
Anyway, yep. So, Guitar Souls, episode 4. Anything you've heard today that you're happy with or you don't like or you've got comments on. Obviously, Gibson's going to be a big talking point in the market. Regardless, even people that probably don't play guitar will see it and go, fucking hell, that's a big guitar company. That's like the big player and something's not right. And it's in, like, was it not Forbes we were looking at actually? We're talking about Gibson. It's that bad that legitimate business publications are taking the case and talking about it. And they done pretty much the same as what we done. Why have Gibson failed? And it's for probably the longest article they've ever written. You know what I mean? It's like fucking 95 pages of Jesus fuck, what have they done wrong? Oh, okay, everything then. In my opinion.
Yeah, it's insane.
And then also like kind of ugly signature guitars. What's your input on it? Do you have any that you think people are ugly or undeserving, or you question the business motive behind it, or people that you think do deserve signatures that don't get them? Things like that. I think it'd be great to hear about.
And how many of you have ordered a signature John Mayer PRS?
Probably as many listeners we've got, which is none.
7, yeah. I'll just throw this out there. So as a closing thing. So currently, this is basically the K-Mac show, because our most popular episode is obviously the one that Kieran was on last week.
Yep.
But other than that, it was the first episode, and that was because Kieran shared it on Bandcamp, on SoundCloud even. And also when I look at the stats on SoundCloud, our biggest listener is also Kieran. He listens to the show more than anyone else does as well.
I like that. That's cool.
Thanks, dude.
One more wee story just before we finish.
What?
I was in Belgium over the weekend playing a gig, and it was in Liège. It was great. It had great fun. But 3 separate people asked, because I was Scottish, "Oh, do you know of K-Mac?" And all 3 of them pretty much shit the bed when I told them that was my brother, and I'm not joking. Like,
It's just your life now.
that's it. Yep. Like, I am PR for the Meme King. That's it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, go check K-Mac out on Patreon.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks very much, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye, fuckers.